back to E60.
Whatever happens to the American team in South Africa at the World Cup, a lot is going to depend on the performance of midfielder Clint Dempsey, a guy who is a creative, spectacular goal scorer. Generally in this country, the soccer players we produce, they're suburbanite kids who played in these very regimented leagues. Clint Dempsey is kind of an altogether different story. Clint Dempsey comes from very humble origins in Nacogdoches, Texas. And the way that he developed required enormous sacrifice on his family's part.
In East Texas, famed for its oil fields and refineries, football is king. But not the football Clint Dempsey plays.
Quick shot, score! Dempsey! Terrific! The U.S. with Dempsey!
Clint is one who's capable of doing the kinds of things that aren't in the book, like a play that's unexpected.
He's got everything you want in a soccer player. He's got great technical ability. He's quick. He's got great feet. He's got a little feistiness in him.
The football Dempsey plays is fueled by natural talent, but also by sacrifice and tragedy. That combination has taken the 27-year-old from East Texas to the U.S. national team, to the English Premier League.
How do you end up playing soccer in the Premiership when you grow up in East Texas?
Sometimes, be on the phone with my family, we still can't figure it out. God was looking out for me, and, things definitely had to fall into place, and, I got lucky, but, I'm grateful for everything I got.
This is where Dempsey's improbable journey began, the small, remote city of Nacogdoches, where he grew up in an athletic family with 2 brothers and 2 sisters, including Jennifer, an emerging tennis star. And this is where Clint learned to play soccer, in his grandmother's yard.
I was third, so...
Where were the goals in soccer?
The goal's right here, just from that pole, where this tree is, and, those the 2 halves of the fence right down there in the corner. That were the goals for a while when we were younger, and then as we got older, moved out there, some trees.
You realize, though, this is hallowed ground in American soccer history.
Yeah.
Where Clint Dempsey first played. This is important.
Yeah, I guess.
By the age of 9, Dempsey's skills had outgrown the backyard and youth leagues in Nacogdoches. He was already dreaming of playing as a pro in Europe, the way his friends dreamed of playing in the NFL. But to pursue his dream, he had to train at a higher level. So he joined a team in Dallas, 170 miles away. A daunting commitment for his parents.
Well, it was 3 hours there and 3 hours back, yes. And the hardest part was coming back. The older I got, the more I would sleep through the practices, and that way I could drive back.
To do that maybe 2 and 3 times a week, and then we started multiplying that up. So that cut out any little extras as far as like more fashionable clothes that they might want or vacations.
The drives were taking a financial toll on Aubrey, a railroad worker, and Debbie, a nurse, who for a time were raising their children in a trailer parked on Clint's grandmother's property.
I wouldn't say we were dead broke, but I'd say we were lower middle class. And my dad had to sell his boat, had to sell some of his guns, and we had to go in debt.
What does it say about your parents that they were willing to sacrifice that much so you could have that opportunity?
I think it's important to have that sense of belief coming from your parents, because it makes you believe more in yourself.
But the financial strain was too much, and when Clint was 12, his parents were forced to make a choice to support his development as a soccer player or his sister Jennifer's tennis training.
She was winning tournaments, and she was, #1 on the high school team here. Wanted to concentrate a little bit more on her. Give her an opportunity. You're still young, and, down the road we'll go back, but we'll just take a little bit of a break.
He was kind of angry with us a little bit at first, but he also knew he loved his sister, and he knew that's why we were doing it, was for Jennifer.
Clint could no longer play with his team in Dallas. Instead, he was back home competing with and against vastly inferior players. And with his progress stalled, his zest for the game diminished. Roughly a year went by. Then, on the day before Thanksgiving, 1995, he and Jennifer were speaking on the phone.
I was calling her because one of my friends was trying to go over to his house, and I was called, and I was like, where's Mom and Dad at? She's like, I don't know. It's all right, well, I'll see you later.
That afternoon, after complaining of headaches, Jennifer collapsed at home. She'd suffered a brain aneurysm. Several hours later, she was dead at 16.
It was tough, man. I mean, it was like a bad nightmare. You'd wake up every day and be like, does that really happen? Did my sister really not here?
It was devastating to Clint because he took this very quietly, I think, in his soul.
There's a lot of anger, but, just have to let that go after a while. I think time's what heals, and it took a while for me to get better with it and to be able to cope with it.
But I remember one day I went to the cemetery and I saw a little note sitting in the flowers. And I pulled out the note, and it was written from Clint.
In his note, Clint, who was 12, told his sister she would always be with him.
I love you, and I know you're in a better place, and joking around, if I'm ever in a game and shooting a ball, hopefully you can help me, score goals, and just that, I'm going to miss her, and I can't wait till, that when I pass away, I'll be able to be with her, and all of us will be together again. And I believe she read it, and she felt what I had to say, and, that's what makes me feel good inside.
How do you think that kind of trauma, how did that affect you as an athlete?
It is, more hungry and, to value life much more and to know that tomorrow, you could be gone, so make the most of today.
Clint continued to grieve. The sad, uncomfortable truth, though, is that Jennifer's death made it possible for him to rejoin his youth team, rekindling his passion for soccer.
I felt that was very good medicine for him, and I noticed that he was a different player, and he played with, I say, more of a purpose.
That sense of purpose was the driving force behind Dempsey's steady rise through the game's ranks, from his team in Dallas to Furman University in South Carolina, to the New England Revolution, where he was the Major League Soccer Rookie of the Year in 2004, to the U.S. national team.
The thing that caught my eye was not just the fact that he scored goals, but he scored really good goals. He's willing to do what it takes on the field to try to win. He's not afraid.
Clint was hard-nosed, doesn't take any crap off anyone. He goes 100 miles an hour and he doesn't back down.
I go out there and fight as hard as I can all the time because you never know what can be your last game.
Dempsey's boyhood goal to play as a pro in Europe was realized in 2006 when London's Fulham club purchased him from the Revolution for $4 million. At the time, the highest fee ever paid for a player from MLS.
Obviously, the American players are coming over more and more, but he's one of the first real successes to actually establish himself as one of the better players in the Premier League.
Now in his fourth season at Fulham, Dempsey's a star with a flair for clutch goals. None more spectacular than the goal he scored this spring against the fabled Italian club Juventus in a crucial match.
Ituhu. Dempsey. And Dempsey will try and chip one! Wonderful! Absolutely brilliant! Goal of a lifetime from the American, the Texan, Clint Dempsey.
As much as Dempsey means to Fulham, which pays him roughly $3 million a year, his clutch goals mean even more to the U.S. national team, especially as it heads to South Africa for the World Cup.
Chance for the United States to apply some pressure here, and it has gone in! Clint Dempsey turns it home! An absolute stunner!
For Clint Dempsey, now raising a family of his own, the improbable journey from Nacogdoches to London, from East Texas to the World Cup, can hardly be measured. It's a journey he knows might never have happened.
Let's just think about the sacrifice, the love that what a family has for each other and what they'll put themselves through for others to be successful. When I go out there, not only do I represent for my family, I represent for my city, and I represent for my state, my country, for all those people who didn't make it.